So, as I previously mentioned in my Aquaman trailer reaction, at that point in time, I had been away from the channel for about a week and a half, and that was because during that week that I was away, basically, I had sort of set myself this challenge, this goal, and that was to watch as many films, full-length feature films, as humanly possible. And at my record at that time, for the most amount of films in a week, according to my letterbox, is 21, where I watch like 3 on Monday to Friday, and then I think I watched like 5 on a Saturday, and then like 2 on a Sunday or something like that, which was, I think, was pretty good, and then I decided to try and break that because I just wanted to. I was interested to see how many films I could watch in a week if I just gave it my all. As the thumbnail says, as the title says, I got up to 35, which I'm very proud of. It's a pretty big number, and so I wanted to share with you guys sort of what that experience was like, both sort of mentally and physically. How I went about planning the whole schedule, because I did kind of have like an overarching schedule for the entire thing, and just talk about it. So I'm just going to run through every single film that I saw, and maybe tell you a little story about each one, my thoughts on the films, most of which I was rewatching, but just overall, just going through it and telling you what happened during this week, because it was pretty, it was pretty crazy. So I brought up Letterboxd, which I've been marking all my films, recording all my films on, and you might notice that actually the week before I started, I was watching a lot of really long films, like Spartacus, which I think was like 3 hours and 20, Wolf of Wall Street, 3 hours, Once Upon a Time in the West, 2 hours, like 2 hours 50, Once Upon a Time in America, 3 hours 50. Which I think, aside from Lord of the Rings: Return of the King Extended Edition, that's probably the longest film I've ever seen. But I was trying to get all the, all the longer ones out of the way so I could really kind of cheat the system a little bit. But anyway, we started off with Monday. We started strong with this sort of sprint start, kind of, with 6 films. And this was the first time in my life I had watched 6 films in a day. We started off with Dunkirk, which is a good film. I think I've already talked a lot about my feelings towards Dunkirk and my sort of love-hate relationship with that film, and I definitely talk about it in my review on Letterboxd, so please check that out if you want to. We moved on to Paths of Glory, which I fell asleep halfway through. Now this is going to be a recurring theme. I guess it's not a theme, but it's going to be something that comes back every day, because I'm at school. I wake up at around 7:30 to 8 every morning. I go to sleep at about 10:30 every night, just so I can watch an extra film or whatever. And so I do get quite tired, and I do have my daily nap, which kind of happens at around 2 to 3, 3 to 4, maybe 4 to 5. And pretty much every weekday, I would take a nap, and I would fall asleep halfway through, or I would fall asleep during a film. I would hit pause, and I'd just sleep for about an hour or 40 minutes. I'd wake up and continue it. And for Monday, that was Paths of Glory. I fell asleep 40 minutes, an hour of the way in. But I enjoyed it. I thought Paths of Glory was really good. And then I went on to Rashomon, which is an Akira Kurosawa film, which I'd heard a lot of great things about. And actually, I gave it 5 stars here, but I've reduced it to 4.5 because it's good. It's very good. And that was quite a short film as well. I think that was about an hour and a half. But yeah, I just reduced it to 4.5 because I did it yesterday, but I don't know why it didn't go in. But I really liked Rashomon, and then we moved on to Russian Ark. By the way, another thing that kind of recurs throughout the entire week was that some films were definitely a lot more memorable than others. I very distinctly remember watching quite a few films, and I also remember not remembering so well watching a few films, and Russian Ark was definitely one of them. I obviously heard a lot of great things about this film, and the fact that it's all done in one take, and it's pretty much a real long take, not like Birdman. And so I thought it was alright. It was good. It was good, and I definitely appreciate the whole one take aspect of it. We moved on to The Graduate, and I think at this point, actually, initially I had only planned to do 25 films just to break the 21 record, and so I was only going to do Dunkirk, Paths of Glory, Rashomon, and maybe The Graduate. Do 4 a day, and then maybe 4, 4, 3, 2, something like that. But I did a lot more, obviously, but The Graduate was one of the ones that kind of snuck onto the schedule early. I was going to plan on watching it on like a Thursday or something, but I loved this film. I thought Dustin Hoffman was amazing. I thought the directing was amazing. I thought the soundtrack was amazing. I really did love The Graduate. Moving on to The Spectacular now. Now, I thought that this film was a very conventional, generic high school drama, but it was really elevated through great directing. And fun fact, the first time I had watched 5 films in a day, back in the summer, I watched Kings of Summer. And the first time I watched 6 films in a day, I watched The Spectacular Now. And the first time I watched 7 films, I rewatched Ladybird, which we'll get to in a bit. But every time I've broken a record, it has been like a teen drama, which was just a really weird coincidence. But I thought Spectacular Now was good. I finished that at around 10:30, so I thought I'd give myself a head start for the next day. Watched about 45 minutes of Sicario, which I obviously love. I've talked a lot about Sicario on my channel, and then I watched Sicario 2, which I also really enjoyed. Moving on to Skyscraper, which was not good. I thought Robert Elswit's cinematography was pretty great, but aside from that, it was not very good at all. And we went on to Notorious, which is a decent Hitchcock film. It's a very good Hitchcock film, actually. And I think it was at this point when I realized that, man, this was taking a bit of a physical toll on me. And I think when I remember watching Notorious, having a bit of a headache, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't take this so seriously. Maybe I was considering like kind of backing down from it a little bit. From the challenge, but luckily I went through with it. And after Notorious, I watched Nocturnal Animals, which is the last film I watched that on Tuesday night. Solid film. I really spotted some editing errors with that film that I just really could not cope with. And a video on that will be coming out within the next week or so. I intend to have my Nocturnal Animals video essay out by approximately no later than Saturday. We'll say no later than Saturday or no later than Sunday, because I'm flying back home. But anyway. Murder on the Orient Express was the first one on Wednesday. This is the original one with Albert Finney, directed by Sidney Lumet. I thought this was solid, but I would put it on the same level as the Kenneth Branagh one, because I did like the Kenneth Branagh one quite a bit, and I thought this one was it's pretty similar. Yeah, it's alright. Macbeth, outstanding. It's one of the best looking films of all time. I remember seeing this film about a year and a half ago. And that was before I was familiar with Shakespeare dialogue, and I didn't really get it. I knew it looked nice, but that was about it, you know. And so I do study Shakespeare at school, and that has kind of helped me appreciate this film more, because I did get the story a lot more. I did get the characters a lot more, the motivations and everything. Obviously, I know the story of Macbeth. I've known it for ages, but I just thought I really appreciated it more the second time round. And wow, the Adam Arkapour cinematography was absolutely outstanding. Like I said, one of the most beautiful films of all time. Moving on to The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Solid film. I've said it many times that I'm a big fan of style. I think style in many ways is as important as substance. And The Man from U.N.C.L.E. has so much style, too much even. But anyway, I enjoyed it. I think it's a solid film, and the style definitely makes up for the slightly lackluster story. The Immigrant, an absolutely solid film by James Gray, who directed The Lost City of Z, which I saw and I thought that was okay. I'm definitely going to be rewatching that and revisiting it, because I really love The Immigrant. Marion Cotillard plays a character that I find is very different from a lot of the characters that she's played in the past, and Jeremy Renner was a really pleasant surprise, and so is Joaquin Phoenix. The guy is definitely becoming one of my favorite actors. Was it Thursday? Yeah, Thursday I watched American Hustle. I liked it less this time around. I don't know why. I actually saw Silver Linings Playbook about a week before I'd seen American Hustle, and I really liked that. I saw it for the first time, and then I rewatched American Hustle, and I realized that I think I might prefer Silver Linings Playbook to American Hustle, but it's still a solid film. Moving on to Seven, which in my opinion is the best murder mystery film of all time. You guys know my thoughts on David Fincher. I think he's an absolute master. Anyway, Kevin Spacey or no Kevin Spacey, I think it's still a brilliant film with brilliant performances by everyone, and I do mean Kevin Spacey as well. War for the Planet of the Apes. Amazing. I talked in my review here a little bit about how I think that in many ways it's like the best 2/3 of a film, because we all know the third act does kind of take its time a little bit too much here and there. So I think it would honestly be a masterpiece if they had kind of streamlined that third act. Moving on to Noah, that was the last film I saw on Thursday. It's another solid film. Thought Matthew Liberty's cinematography here was absolutely on point. It slightly derails once they get on the boat though. I Saw the Light was the first film I saw on Friday. Not the best film. I thought the script was very dull, and it didn't feel like they really cared when it came to the script writing stages. But I think that the director definitely cared. Tom Hiddleston definitely gave it his all. Moving on to American Psycho, which is in my top 5 favorite films of all time. I know pretty much all the lines of dialogue off by heart. I really want to talk about it in depth one day, but I do really love American Psycho. Tron Legacy was next, and that was a film that I was watching before I did my Aquaman reviews, in between my Aquaman review. And actually, I'm gonna go back here and actually tell you guys which films I fell asleep during. So I fell asleep during Path of Glory. I fell asleep during Sicario 2. I fell asleep during Macbeth. These are usually like the middle films, the films that I watch in the middle of the day, because that's when I take my nap. I fell asleep during Seven. I fell asleep during Tron. And then after Tron's good. It's really stylish. I think Joseph Kosinski is an amazing visual director. But anyway, moving on to True Grit, which I also really, really loved. And then Enemy. Actually, I had initially planned to watch 5 on Saturday, but it ended up being 7 because I watched a ton of like hour-and-a-half films, hour and 20 so minute films. Enemy was one of them. I love Enemy. Aloha, not so much. I have no idea how some of these actors did the film, because it was just not very good. Borat is one of my favorite comedies. I love it. Forbidden Kingdom was a film that I grew up watching as a child. I also really enjoy it. A lot of issues now that I've seen it with kind of more seasoned eyes, I guess. I don't know. I fell asleep I didn't fall asleep. I was about to fall asleep in Forbidden Kingdom, but I didn't. Speed Racer I absolutely love. Whenever someone asks me, is there a film that you love but most people hate, I say Speed Racer, because I absolutely love it. I think it's a masterpiece. I'll make a video on that within the coming weeks or so. Great Gatsby is another solid film with awesome style by Baz Luhrmann. Lady Bird was the last film, my 7th film. The first time in my life I had watched 7 films in a day. I love Lady Bird. I reviewed it. If you want to know my thoughts, watch my review. This Is the End is yet another very, very good representation of my taste in comedy, which is like very, very offensive, very immature humor. That's what I like, and I really like this film. I saw A Star Is Born in cinemas, and in my review for my Letterboxd review, I said that I would be reviewing it soon, and I will. I'm gonna try and have my review for A Star Is Born out no later than Wednesday. It's Monday today, no later than Wednesday. I really loved it. I really, really loved it. Moving on to the Belko Experiment, solid film. It's just a bit of turn your brain off fun. Hunt for the Wilder People. I love Taika Waititi. I think he's one of the best at what he does. And here, his skills as a comedian, as a storyteller, as a filmmaker is on full display, and I really enjoyed it. It's a very likable film, I find. The final film I watched in that week was Casino Royale, which is my favorite Bond film, and it's in my top 10 favorite films of all time. I think it is an absolute masterpiece. I absolutely love Casino Royale, and I intentionally chose it as the last film so that I can kind of round off the week with a really, with a masterpiece. And so yeah, that was Casino Royale, and I just watched The Streetcar Named Desire this morning, so that doesn't count. But anyway, that was my film week, which was very, very tiring. It was a challenge, but in many ways it made me realize that I could watch a lot more films than I usually do. I usually watch around 2 to 3 a day. If you keep up with my Letterboxd diary, you'll know that I watch around 2 to 3 a day, sometimes 4, but very rarely. But with this week, the minimum amount of films per day was 4, which is pretty ridiculous. But it made me realize that it is doable, especially when, because YouTube is such a big part of my life, and editing videos does take up a lot of time. So, when I had a whole week off from YouTube, it definitely let me be able to do all this stuff a lot more. But anyway, I thought that I just wanted to share with you a quick story about my film week. But yeah, rest assured it's gonna be a long time before I have another video like this, because oh my god, it was tiring. I was on the verge of a massive explosion of a headache when I was watching Casino Royale. But it's going to be a long time before I even try and break this record. 35 is very hard. Maybe in like the holidays, when I've already gotten into uni and I have nothing to do, I might go for like, I don't know, like 40 films, something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, guys, thank you very, very much for watching this video. Please stay tuned for my special review. I'm going to do a slightly different style review for A Star Is Born, and also my video essay on Nocturnal Animals, and also my video essay on Speed Racer. But that's going to be coming out in a while, so don't expect it anytime soon. But anyway, thank you very, very much, guys, for watching. Stay tuned for those videos, but thank you for watching this one. Thank you.